Welcome, people, to this episode of the Visionary Experience. Today, we have a very special guest. We have Mr. Dario Santana here, who is the founder of a Veterans Success podcast. I used to call it the Veteran Success Sofa Cast. If you go into YouTube, he has his sofa. He's there with various guests and everything. So, welcome, Dario.
Thank you very much, Brandon. It's a pleasure to be here, and it's a pleasure to be in this amazing office you got, all this setup here.
Thank you. We're live, well, kind of live taping from Visionary Studios. So the thing is, back in January of 2019, I'd been talking to Anton about doing a podcast, 2019, okay? And I went out and I bought some equipment and I bought some stuff, and I made all these notes, and then February came. Then fast forward, then June came. And then fast forward, we're in the fall. And I'm like, I just never pulled the trigger. And so I was inspired when you had started your podcast, because what you did was you had an idea, you purchased the equipment, you essentially taught yourself, trained yourself. You did the research.
Still learning.
And the thing is, you did it. And I think we had that conversation a while ago. So I definitely admire you. Because what I was doing, which a bad part of my character was, I was waiting for the perfect time. I was waiting to have everything, to be everything, to have every idea. And next thing you know, you blink and time is gone, but you actually took action immediately. And so that inspired me to get off my tush and to actually do it. So I definitely appreciate it, because when I was looking at your podcast and I would listen to it, driving, I was like, Dario just went out and did it.
It.
You just did it. So it was definitely very inspiring. So definitely props to you for making it happen.
Thank you.
Definitely, props to you. So, you check out the show notes. We'll put show notes for you to check out A Veteran Success on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, any kind of social media outlet. It's a fantastic discussion that's focused on just the lives of veterans and their success personally and professionally, and we definitely need that in this day and time. So again, thank you.
You're very welcome, and thank you, and congratulations on kicking off your YouTube channel and your podcast in general. And it's gonna be great.
I'm doing my best. Yeah, I got. You guys can't see, but we got our podcast engineer Anton in the house.
That's right.
And he's the subject matter expert in the government. They call him a SME. So he's a subject matter expert. He's helping us, to make this thing work. So let's just dig in. Let's dive in right now.
Hold on. We got to stop there, because you talked about how you got inspired. Let me tell you how I got inspired.
Then inspire us.
Because Mr. Anton Keith, a.k.a. Humble Savage himself.
Okay.
Which, by the way, I love that, Humble Savage. As a Christian and, as a Marine, I always try to find the most classiest way to still be a warrior, but yet not, walk
classy
around
warrior.
like,
I like that.
Not walk around like I'm trying to rip heads off every day.
Right.
Deep down inside, I feel like that, but I smile, right? Because it's all about peace and love. But he inspired me as well. So you see how that works is cliche statement. Like my mother said, tell me who your friends are and I'll tell you who you are.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's a cliche statement, but as a dad now, I truly believe in that.
No, I appreciate it.
Thank
you.
you.
Pull your mic a little bit closer.
Thank you, Anton. All right, let's get this adjustment here once and for all.
Oh, yeah, no, that's good stuff. So let's dig in. So you are a veteran, and from what branch?
United States Marine Corps.
All right. Semper
Happy
Fi.
belated birthday. Semper Fi.
That's right. And so can you educate our audience? What does that actually mean?
Semper Fi means always faithful.
Always faithful.
Always
Fantastic.
faithful.
All right. Well, we need that in this day and time.
Sure do.
We sure do. You, are, in transition housing wise, you are, improving and you're growing in your family, and you currently have a VA loan, or you're getting a VA loan for where you're going, correct?
Yes, I'm on. This will be my third time using my VA loan.
Okay, fantastic.
So yes, what an amazing benefit out there, an entitlement. So.
Right. And how's that experience been? Saying this is your third time, so your first and second time, just generally being a veteran, being able to use that type of loan to purchase a home for you and your family. Share with our audience some of how that experience has been for you.
It's been amazing due to the fact that, there's no down payment depending if the home is new or not. So if you do a new construction, you here in the state of Virginia, I can speak to, you need to have a a down payment for the new construction. But if it's a used home, then you don't. As for me, specifically for me, that's been my experience. I think that is a huge benefit for a veteran, especially coming off of active duty, because you don't a lot of times have the ability to accumulate that much money on a military salary, if you know what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Especially, I only made it to the rank of E6, so I'm a staff sergeant in the Marine Corps. Not only, but I think that was pretty good. In general, I would have, loved for it the first and second time to be unlimited. Right now, it's unlimited, so there is no cap. Originally, there was a cap.
Mm-hmm.
But I learned every time something new. I was told of it on active duty. I was told of the benefit by the VA, but they did not elaborate. And even when I try to do some research on my own, not knowing what you don't know, you're kind of limited. So that's why we're here today.
All right, fantastic. Speaking of which, I think with regards to VA loans and helping people with their family, you mentioned the word entitlement. And so just to educate our audience, and really what that means is, there are things in this country called entitlements, like Medicare, Social Security, things of that nature. Those are called entitlements, and you'll probably hear that argued a lot in politics about how entitlements can be good or entitlements can be bad in terms of the economy. But with regards to veterans, when you are entitled to something, then in this particular case, it's something that the veteran has earned, and the veteran has earned it through their time and service in the armed forces, and you have to give a certain amount of time to the military in the armed forces, in order to get an amount of entitlement. Once you have that exchange, along with a lot of other things that are benefits of the military, you get, and so that entitlement allows you, depending upon what state you live in, what county you live in, what's called loan limits are. But you can go very, very high. As you said, with the VA, it's different than a conventional or a Fannie Mae loan. It's different than FHA, the Federal Housing Administration. And in fact, I would argue it's far better because it has the no down payment, number one. Today, VA rates are the lowest in the country, like that I have seen, on a 30-year fixed. Or helping people to refinance in the low twos on a 30-year fix, which is crazy because I've been in the mortgage industry for over 10 years plus, and I've never seen it, rates that low. And, there are some of the underwriting guidelines in terms of helping people to qualify are much more relaxed. And because at the end of the day, it's designed to help a veteran get into the home. At the end of the day, to help a veteran and their family to be a homeowner. In fact, a lot of people don't realize is if unfortunately a veteran passes away, that veteran's spouse can apply to use that entitlement and purchase a home with no money down. It's absolutely possible. You don't want to have that case.
Absolutely not.
You want to have a full family, but it exists. And so kudos to the Department of Veterans Affairs, who gets a lot of flack for a lot of things. But definitely kudos there because there's so many different benefits. One final benefit that a lot of people don't realize is Dario is purchasing a home, and he's buying the home from Brandon. And Brandon's very generous. You guys know that. So I'm giving a certain amount of money to Dario and his family to help cover closing costs. Well, the closing costs don't actually equal the amount that I'm giving Dario, so there's a little bit of money left over. Guess what you can do?
I have no idea. Put it towards the house?
Nope. You can pay off debt. You got a credit card? Wow. You got a Visa, Discover, Amex, MasterCard.
I had no idea about
that. You owe $3,000 left on your car note. Big Bertha, Big Betsy, or whatever.
Betsy the Blue Bear.
Betsy the Blue Bear.
Not Big Bertha.
Big Bertha.
That's the name of my SUV.
There you go. You can take those additional funds, which would normally come back to me as the seller because you didn't use them. As a veteran, you can use that to pay down your debt.
Wow. You just blew my mind with that.
Amazing. And so there are, there's so many different, benefits like that are given to veterans. I would definitely argue before anyone that that VA loans are the best types of loans in the country, head to head against any other type of loan. So, just wanted to educate the audience.
Absolutely. That's why we're here. It's all about education, sharing
on it.
knowledge, right? Knowledge is power, but only if shared.
Absolutely. So I want to steer the conversation just a little bit, and I want you to be able to share with your audience about a veteran's success. So, what inspired you to come up with the name, the topics? So give us some background on how you came up with that.
So veteran success all began when I learned about the social media craze, and I said, what better way to put us on the map than myself, right? Because it was my idea. It's like something, I always see the TV and I hear this, and the only time I see a veteran is when someone's raising money, and it's in some cases, literally my friend up on TV because of my career, what I do, work with wounded, ill, and injured, and they're missing a limb or they're a paraplegic. There's invisible wounds we speak of, mental health and things like that, but I wanted to focus on the success of someone joining the military and what they're doing now for their country, for their community, for their society, how joining the military has helped them. It's a volunteer organization. So I think that in itself is so amazing. And I just wanted to highlight all those things. For the military did a lot for me. Being able to join the military, get some education, get my education paid for, have an amazing family, and it still continues to give me. Even my current career that I have right now is due to the fact that I joined the military, the Marine Corps. And that was really what I wanted to do, is highlight these stories of men and women that can be your neighbor, that are still giving back in some shape, form, or fashion, and they can mentor without even realizing those coming in, those that are still in. I've had a lot of conversations with friends and discussions where they want to get out. And now as a veteran, I look at them and I go, you've been in about 20 years, 18 years, 15 years. Do not get out. Just retire. Because in general, things get thick. Whether you're in the military or you're a loan officer, an engineer of some sort, things get thick, and you want change in some cases. And after I talked them through it, I started to realize, like, hey man, we need a area in this social media where we can share our stories as well, and hopefully someone can benefit. When I began, I was very nervous, very scared, because I didn't know what the reaction was going to be. And now with the pandemic, I had to take a break because now I'm teleworking. I'm a teacher. I have a 12-year-old. I have an infant. My wife's a registered nurse. So it's been very overwhelming. And one of the things I always talk about is mental, physical, and spiritual. I live by this trifecta. And right now, all three of those are tapped. Right now, those are tapped. And so we look for what resources have you been using, veteran, and how would you like to share those?
Right.
So hopefully I didn't over-explain.
No, you did a fantastic job. So you mentioned a word that I wrote down, and you talked about mentoring. So if as a man who has given advice and mentored, so I'm a high school junior or senior. I'm not too sure about my college prospects. I'm not too sure. I could maybe go, maybe not go. And I'm really trying to figure out what direction I want to go in life. And I come to him like, Dario, or Mr. Santana, I'm considering maybe enlisting in the armed forces. What would you recommend? We're being told to move over by our podcast engineer. I'm good? Okay, I'm good.
The first thing I would tell them is, do they have any idea of what they want to do?
Okay.
And the second thing I would tell them is, in life in general, at some point you got to make a decision and you got to stick with it. I was just telling my daughter the other day, sometimes you got to use what you got to get to the next level. And if it's working at McDonald's, no offense, or working at Starbucks, how do I use that to climb the ladder and continue moving? And so what I would tell that person is, have you ever worked in general? Do you know what it's like to work? Have you been employed? Because a lot of times in the area that I'm living now, kids don't need to work. They can just go to school. They can go home. They have all these opportunities. They're privileged. So depending where that kid is coming from, I'm most likely gonna ask them if they've worked, if they have any idea, kind of see, what kind of character they have.
Right.
I chose the Marine Corps, and to this day, the Marine Corps is the few, the proud,
Yeah.
the Marines, and it's not easy. We have the longest boot camp, but majority of the time I end up telling people go to the Air Force. They're high on education, they're high on quality of life, but so is the Navy, and so is the Army. I just love the Air Force. Now they got Space Force, so I'm really excited, and I want to be like Star Wars,
So you're talking about building character. We talk about that. I think the men in our small group in church, we talk about that, a lot. And so when after you had enlisted in the Marines, let's say give us a journey through your first 2 to 3 years.
Wow.
In the Marines, and how it worked to change your character from who you were just the first couple of years. What did it do for you?
Well, obviously boot camp was
Okay.
a shock in the sense that it's the first time I was on a plane.
Okay.
The first time I was away from family and friends. I felt alone, although there was other men there with me. Well, I would say now that I know what I know, I don't care. There was no men in there. It was just a bunch of male, young people trying to find their way. I think equally there was not one person in there, with the exception for one. God bless him wherever he's at. He knew exactly what he was doing and why. His uncle died in the first attack. So I joined in 2000. His uncle died in the first attacks on the World Trade Center. So this kid had a mission. I mean, he physically, spiritually, mentally, he was a Muslim, American Muslim, and I don't remember his name, but his impression was just so amazing, because when the drill instructor got to him and said, hey, why are you here, blah, 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 and he said that, like that I was like, wow, this kid got purpose, He was still a kid in many ways, very mature, but he had a reason for being there. So So those were the types of experiences, that I was going through in boot camp. And physically, I played basketball and handball in New York and Brooklyn, and I was a very active kid. So physically, it wasn't that hard to adjust, but mentally it was. It got cold. I knew what it was very quickly to, be responsible for yourself and your belongings to a whole nother level. The first thing they taught us is integrity, responsibility. Some of these things I had, but they put it on steroids, having your own rifle and making sure you don't lose that thing, it was priority. So a Marine is not a Marine if he doesn't know his rifle. I'll tell you that much. So responsibility, integrity. It was hard being in 3rd Battalion because we were all the way in the back in Paris Island. So I'm one of those Marines that we like live and die Marine Corps. That's how I was raised, and I'm very grateful for that in the Marines. But it was very difficult, all the lessons that I had to learn so fast, and there was no one there to coach me and say, good job. It was never a good job in boot camp, and I think that's what made me a man, is not looking for that reward from someone else or looking into someone's eyes, expecting them to tell me, oh, good job or nothing. It was just all me. There was no way to get through that but myself, and obviously God. Jesus, I believed in God, at the time. So, yeah, I would say that was the first 3 things I learned was, responsibility, integrity, and to believe in myself. I had no choice but to believe in myself. If I saw a lot of recruits that did not believe in themselves, they're not Marines today.
Right.
They are not Marines today. So you have to give yourself credit, and you have to believe in yourself.
So just as an estimation, what percentage of the recruits that came in would you say actually made it to the very end?
In my class, I don't forget, I think it was about 80. I think
80% made it.
No, there was 80 men.
Oh, 80 men.
And that was a humongous class. That was huge.
Okay.
And it was weird. I was like, why is it so packed in here?
Right.
This is awkward. But they just started dropping. I mean, the first day they were like pulling people out, like, you failed your drug test. You thought you were going to pass. You're out of here. They were just pulling people. You got a warrant. People were just like dropping. I mean, within the first week, we were down to already like 60. They just, others went to different classes and they moved them around. I don't know what happened. It was pretty wacky. But we ended up, I think, graduating like less than 50 because a couple guys got hurt and they got left back. So it was around less than 50 from like 80 men.
Got it. And I've always wondered this, is going through boot camp and going through training, is it really like it's shown like in the movies?
Absolutely not.
No,
Marine
sir.
No, that's true. So you
That's
will address, in boot camp, you do address them, well, for the Marines, is drill instructor, senior drill instructor, and that's it. And, it's yes, sir, no, sir. There's no exception. Those things are real. The vocabulary that you hear are pretty close. But what you go through physically, it's day and night. It's all day, 24/7 in boot camp. From when you go to sleep to when you wake up, you walk and talk. They're teaching you military,
Right.
Marine Corps, like in and out. Here's the thing. However old you are, whatever habits you had, whatever you were taught in life, they're trying to strip it down in 90-something days and build it back up. So they're trying to strip you of you and build this Marine. So they make sure that they take every second of your time. I mean, we had some time to write. I think it was like an hour to write and maybe do some thinking, which was, this is not long enough, an hour, because by the time you got to do what you wanted, you use the restroom or you do whatever, it's like, man, you got, time flew that 1 hour,
Right.
but the other time went slow. So from physical training to rifle training to knowledge, they educate you on, United States, the UCMJ, United Code of Military Justice.
Okay.
So you got to know some of that. They give you, all, it's just constant knowledge, whether it's, we're going to go play hunter games or something. We're going to go out there in the woods and sleep for 2 weeks, training on your rifle, on different tactics and formations and marching and your uniform and on and on and on. So those things are real. Those snippets you see of us sleeping in those uncomfortable cots,
Right.
with the uncomfortable blanket, but it all has, it all prepares you. Within, like you said, the first 3 years, I was already, in the jungle. I was in places I was like, wait, I got away from Brooklyn, thinking I won't
Right.
see stuff like this, but I'm seeing
From
worse.
the concrete jungle to the real jungle.
Oh, absolutely. and but it prepared me. I think
Right.
it made me harder. And if you go in, that's why I said you have to be, you have to believe in yourself and have confidence and be mentally tough, because their concept is, hey, at any point in time, you could get kidnapped, you could
Right.
become a prisoner of war. You could be in a situation where you have other people's lives in your hands. And so why we're going to be so soft on you?
Right.
And I think that's where there's a lot of controversy, because from the outside looking in, we have to train killers, no matter how you look at it. We have to protect this nation. And, I can't train you and be like, listen, make sure that before you open fire, you have a conversation with the guy planting bombs on the road and shooting at you. Hey, let's talk. It doesn't work that way.
Right.
Sometimes you have to use that level of, unfortunately, I call it brutality, violence, to get someone's attention.
So you have to make very quick decisions.
Very quick decisions that,
Right.
May cost people's life, and then you have to live with it.
Absolutely. So, I was writing down some notes, and I have a triangle here, basically. So what you just shared with me, in my opinion, is how the Marines indoctrinates you fully. You become a Marine to the best of their ability over a certain period of time, but they indoctrinate you so that you can build character, and at the same time, they're building a warrior.
Yes.
So it's like if your character is weak in certain areas, that indoctrination will help you to get there. If you're
It'll
not a
expose
warrior, they will expose your mess, right? And the thing is, to me, and again, I mean, I'm a civilian, but in my opinion, from knowing what I know about the Marines and knowing several Marines, if I'm going into the armed service, I know that the Marines are of the highest order in terms of it's going to take the most. Like, it's going to take the most of me to be a Marine, versus no disrespect to other, members of the armed forces.
They'll
but,
agree with you.
yeah,
They'll joke around about
right,
it.
yeah, but to push yourself mentally and physically. So why would I even do it if I didn't have some intention of actually making it?
Yes.
Does that mean I'm going to make it? Maybe so, maybe not, but at least the intention's there. Were there men and women, soldiers there that just didn't have any idea? They just thought it was a cool thing to do, and then they found out? Or did most of them have somewhat of an inkling, okay, this is what it's going to take?
Most of them did, but there was a 10% that were completely clueless.
Okay.
They had no idea that this is not, you signed the contract. You know, you gave the government your life. And now they're like, you know what? This is not what I thought it was what it's going to be. Can I leave? And they're like, what? Are you out of your mind? What do you mean, can you leave?
Right.
Absolutely not. You cannot leave.
Mm-hmm.
You should have thought about this before you signed up, because you don't just go sign up and they ship you. There's a whole process.
Okay.
There's a whole process before you join the military. It's not sign this paper and they put you on a bus. There's background checks. There's constant meetings with the recruiter discussing, you know, what job you want to do, what career you want to go down, what's your education level, background checks. It goes on and on. It's not a one touch and go. You sign and then you decide, I don't want to go. So by that point, it's too late, and they develop a negative attitude towards the military. And so just yesterday, I was on a meeting. Was it yesterday? No, because yesterday was Veterans Day. So happy belated Veterans Day. And
that's
happy
right, to all
Marine Corps
veterans.
birthday, 245th birthday to all Marines out there in Corpsman. So that served with us, very specific. But
He looked at you.
I was just, I guess, so it was Monday, and they said, you know, when you wake up, you got to put a smile on your face. You have to start controlling the attitude from the minute you wake up. And so when you have this 10% that signed up for something, they had no idea, and now they're getting smacked in their face, and they don't have the ability to do that, is very hard, because that could spread, especially to younger people in the military. And it almost spread to me, but thank God I was with God, and, you know, I didn't do 20 years, but I feel like sometimes I did more things in my little time than some guys I meet that've done 20 years. I'm like, you didn't do what? Like,
Right.
You were in 20 years and you did what? You pushed paper or something? What? You know, and it's like, within my first contract, I was already in a lot, you know, from a jungle to a desert. It was pretty shocking. It was like, wow, you know, what I was being trained for and what I heard from other Marines, it was like, yeah, you know, this is how it typically, and then here I am within 4 years, I'm in 2 completely different climates.
That's amazing.
One is dry and freezing, the other one is wet and always hot, and there's bugs that I've never seen. You know, coming from Brooklyn, I've seen roaches and rats and maybe a few spiders, but I was like, what is that? And they're like, don't touch that. You know, I'm like, no. They're like, no, do not touch that. I'm like, I want to touch that. They're like, don't touch that. You're going to die, literally.
Touch it with your boot. The bottom of your boot.
Coral snakes, you know, because in the Marines, they teach you a little bit about everything for survival. So I was like, is that a coral snake? Looks like a coral snake. Moves like a coral snake. The colors are like a coral snake.
Right.
My friend's like, please don't touch it, Santana. Please don't touch it.
No, we need you around, Santana. We need you around.
Yeah.
You know, so we're going to, you know, end off in a few minutes, but I wanted to get your thoughts on this. We're not going to talk about politics, but we are going to talk about where we are today as a country. Let's just say, you know, this 2020 going into 2021, and where, you know, where America stands as a country in the eyes of the world, where we stand today. What would your advice be to anyone looking to go into the military today with regards to where the country stands today? What would your advice be?
Going into the military, that's a tough question, especially right now. My advice would be do some research on the job opportunities, something that attracts you. Yep. Make sure that there's a test called the ASVAB.
The ASVAB, okay.
Make sure that, you know, you study for that. Okay. And start doing some physical training. Don't be that guy or girl who goes in, never done a push-up or a pull-up. They have the worst time.
Right.
They have the absolute worst time, because what happens is they're breaking you down. So here you got a guy who could do 20 pull-ups and then a guy who could do 1 pull-up. But part of teamwork is you're not leaving that guy behind. So we're all staring at you like, wow, you haven't done 1 pull-up. We've done 1,000. I cannot feel my arms. So, you know, start preparing yourself before you get on the bus, before you step on the yellow footprint. That would be my advice. Prepare yourself mentally, physically, and spiritually, and make sure that you start learning what a mentor is and getting mentored. You got to humble yourself.
Okay.
You got to be vulnerable to saying, I don't know. Have integrity. It's a lot. I think that if there was more focus on that, on what caliber of person you need to be, and you'll be successful. If you put those few things down, working on yourself by making sure you have integrity,
Right.
Physically, spiritually, right? Like start doing things. Learn what the test is going to be. If it's running and push-ups or pull-ups, depending the branch, and start looking for what career study. Because the higher you get on the ASVAB, the more job opportunities you're going to have.
Got it.
And then, work with your recruiter to make sure that you get into that field, because the recruiter might say, well, this is all I have available. And in some situations, you just want out. Like, you just want to get out of your whatever environment you are. Right. In that case, I say go sign up.
Okay.
If you know that that environment you're in is going nowhere soon, and you're looking to your right and your left, and, it's not good, get out of that environment.
I think that's excellent advice.
I don't care what happens in the military. You're going to be successful. Trust me. You can have whatever job is going to be better than what you don't have.
No, I definitely appreciate that. And look, I definitely appreciated this conversation in terms of just you sharing, some of the post military benefits, post active duty benefits that have, been able to have been given to you and your family, and how you really enjoy that. Sharing the first few years, because I know you've had a good sized military career, but I wanted to really learn about how it changed you, and I think you really gave me and our audience an excellent idea about that. And I've definitely been educated and even inspired, today, from this. So I definitely appreciate that, Dario. I look forward to you, getting back into, a veteran success, and
I can't wait.
Oh yeah. And we will be promoting it. So just, thank you for your time here.
Thank you. It's definitely been a pleasure learning a little bit more about how the loan benefit entitlement can help veterans. If you don't know, Brandon, Visionary Lending, if you're a veteran, you're in the market, I would recommend, instead of looking for a house, find out how much you can afford.
Absolutely.
Before you even start picking, the house with the bells and whistles. It's okay to start at the bottom.
Yeah. No, thank you. Thank you again. And thank you all for checking out this most recent episode of the Visionary Experience. We'll see you again soon.